It's me, Ashish, and Kiat is already on the call. My colleague Farid Sabitov was also supposed to join, but he's getting a bit delayed due to unfortunate events that's happening back at his place. So he's just tackling those personal things, and he would be here in few minutes. So, but we are covered. He will join and help us whenever he can join. So, but me, I am a associate director, strategy design at EPAM. My main areas are around design ops, design thinking, and experience consulting. So design ops has been something me and Farid and one of our colleagues Jay has been working really closely in recent past. So we wanted to share and take this opportunity of Designs Z Day to walk people through typical design ops workshop that we do. Of course, it won't cover everything that we have because sometimes it lasts 3 to 4 days and it's a week activities. So what we will try to cover some aspects of it today. And I see Farid joining, so I will wait for him to join and then introduce before we move forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm also gonna make him the co-host. So he joined kind of just in time,
Yeah,
right? When his face showed up.
to provide his introduction.
Yeah, time
Hey
for
guys.
introduction.
Hey,
Hey,
Farid. So we were just doing introduction, so you can do yours, and then we can get to the next steps.
Yes, sorry for being late. My name is Farid Sabitov. I'm senior experience designer in EPAM with almost 10 years of experience working with small medium businesses and large enterprise companies as well. Happy to be here, and yeah, that's all from my side. Thank you.
awesome.
Thanks. And you have also all met Kiet Lim, who is here. Kiet, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Kiet Lim. I'm based in Singapore actually. So it's 9 p.m. here instead of 3 p.m. I'm the experience consultant based in Singapore. I just joined EPAM a couple of months back. So really happy to be here. I also volunteer at IXDA, which is the Interaction Design Association, global nonprofit that runs design communities all around the world. So yeah, happy to be here helping and moderating this session with you guys.
Yeah, so please feel free to send lots of chats, lots of comments. It has good time reading them and bringing forward so that we can have more interactive session. Uh, so the goal of this session is to make sure you learn more about design ops and also how to get started uh, for yourself, for your team. If you're working at the client side, how to get design ops started there, making people know more about design ops and being more comfortable. So that's the main goal of our workshop today. We will use some activities to learn and also understand each other's problems and see where we can improve. So uh, please, I can't say it enough, but the more interactive and more participative you are, the more useful the workshop would be for everyone here. So before we get started, some ground rules. Everything that we will be doing today is in Figma. I don't assume you all to be expert in Figma. What we will do is we will quickly show you some basics of Figma so that you can use it and can work in the Figma file because all our activities would be there. Don't worry, you don't have to be expert at all. But if you know Figma very good, it will just help you navigate around the file quicker. But if you have any issues, if you have any questions, please speak up or type in the chats. Kiet or any of us, me or Farid, will love to help you out. We can use this session to know more about Figma. Figma is getting more and more popular these days. So knowing how this tool works and how can we use this to do a big workshop like this will definitely be an important aspect to collaborating in your team as well. If you're not speaking, keep on mute, but please unmute and talk and ask questions. Video is optional. If you want to switch on the videos, very good. If not, it's fine. But it's good to see the face we are talking to. So please, if you're comfortable, please switch on your videos. We are here to learn, so participate, ask questions. If you have done some similar activities before on, share your challenges, your opinions, anything good, bad, and we can discuss that. And same, if you have any questions that you don't want to speak up, but you want to use in the chat, again, feel free to write lots of chat so that Kiat is busy uh, and interacting with you as well. So first thing, when we go to the workshop area, you will see lots of sticky notes that we're going to use. Those are pre-built, so you don't have to build it from scratch. All you have to do is copy them and double click on text to start writing your comments or as per the activities. You can enlarge or make it smaller by dragging it. So we will show it how to use it. So it's very simple. Anything before we get started, Farid? Before we say some hello again?
Yeah, I think it will be really exciting. And thank you all for joining.
Great. So Kiat just pinged the Figma file to everyone. Please click that link and log in or open the Figma file.
Yep. So I just pasted it on the chat on Zoom. If you go in there, you should see what Ashish is sharing on screen.
Yeah. And you can click on my icon or Farid's icon or Kiat's icon and it would be there. So you can click my icon or you can Farid's or Kiat's icon and you all would be here. Farid, do you want to walk people through how to say hello to everyone? And
Yeah. Ashish, can you please click on my user icon? So we like the first a quick icebreaker where we will meet with each other. As you can see here, we have users on the left side, on the right side, sorry, where you can select them and just like update your character. Please specify your name and put some comments at the top. You can also upload your user picture and also be creative. You can customize your own character. So this character will be yours and you can move it. So you will see the line here. And if you are ready with your customization, please go to the line and we will go to the next activity when we are all ready. I hope everyone knows how to use Figma. If not, you can just double click on one of the characters. And as you can see here, Chuck Norris, Rachel Green, and others are just like the fake ones. You can just change them and replace it with your information, replace it with your image. And please go to the line. We see that Emily is on the line right now. By the way, the whole flow is inspired by virtual Figma meetup that was conducted in Singapore. Kayat, thank you for sharing this really interesting idea. I hope that it will be really interesting for everyone, for us to.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you guys actually customize it with the mummies and the pirates.
Yeah. Yeah, you can customize it by yourself. I mean, we are all designers, so please customize your character, provide some comments. And also the message bubble on the top can be used for communication. If you would like to share something or just like discuss with someone, you can just like update it and yeah, use it as a real virtual conference. So we are trying to make sure that everyone is engaged and yeah. So we see Emily, Ashish, And Elki is almost also ready. Please customize your characters. Feel free to do that. We see that Helen already done. Yeah, we see that Victoria have blue blue characters. Yeah, it's really funny to see how designers are showing their creativity. I hope Figma will be stable and we will not break the servers right now today.
Hope not.
Yeah.
Like the
Emily, you are very creative. I really like your
Sasha
character.
is asking if we need to create an account in Figma. Not really, I think.
You
Do you need to?
yeah, please create
Maybe.
create account in Figma. It will be for free. You can just like provide your email and yeah, and that's it. And you can use it. And you can join our workshop. So today, as Ashish said, that we will go through different activities, and this is like a quick introduction for everyone. Yeah, please register, like choose your own character and make it yours. So then we will continue.
And people who are joining new, the Figma link is in the chat, and please click there, and it would be in the Figma file. You can click on my icon, or you can look for Kiet's icon or Farid's icon. So you will directly reach where we are currently creating our own cool avatars. So you can go and say hello to others. And talk to them. It's a virtual world, so interact as much as you can. Use this time to know other people. Uh, in the comment section, if you can, if you're using other names, if you can write the name you want to be called out as, so you can type them in the white area. Tell us where you are from. We are going to do some fun activities there. Talk about your favorite color, favorite city, something so that we can know who you are, what you like. If you are a designer, tell us something cool about design. Introduce yourself to us. Nice.
Ashish, maybe it's better to show for others how to crop the image inside Figma. So if like there is a hotkey for that,
So if you are selecting the image, you can use this. Sorry, you can use the crop image here at the top, and or you can use this option here to crop quickly. And Farid was mentioning about a shortcut. What's that, Farid?
Yeah, by holding Option key and double clicking on the image, you are able to quickly move the image inside the cropping field. You can resize it based on your needs.
Are we all here? I see around 11 people. So I think we are all ready.
More or less, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah,
Can we
we can go to the
yeah,
check-in zone.
yes. So everybody move to the check-in zone. You can follow Farid or the line.
So the idea of check-in zone is to find your country on the map and put this pin on the map where you are located right now, so we can see where we are all right now.
It's been little bit in US side, so I'll fix it. Just type your name also and the city so that we know we can know country by the icon you are going to put there. So just write your name and city you are from.
Right, are we able to put some music on the background?
Oh, yes.
If that's possible, that will be great, I think.
Of course.
Yeah, it's like waiting in a restaurant.
Yeah, they've been saying this is like the elevator music.
We should have
Yeah.
a lounge area here.
Yeah, and the people who are in Zoom, please, you can unmute yourself, and if you have any questions, please ask.
No questions.
I think we will need like a couple of minutes more, and then we can switch to the next step. And maybe we will just make a quick overview. So we see that we have a lot of people from Ukraine, Belarus, I think Russia maybe. We have a lot of people from the Singapore
Hong Kong.
and yeah, Canada.
Cool.
If you are ready, you can go to the line and we can continue.
Okay. So I think for the next session we'll move to other part. Okay, so uh, thank you for that session. It was really nice meeting everybody. Nice to know you where you are from. So design ops. We have heard this term quite a few times now in recent past. This is something not new. It has been around for almost 5 6 years in a different way a long time before, but it has gained a momentum in I would say last 2 or 3 years a lot. There were a few uh, people who made it popular, like Dave Moloff. He is from, he was earlier with some other company, but now he's with Northwestern. And then other areas. Some companies are really going forward with design ops, be it Airbnb or Boeing or Facebook. So it's gaining term, and anything that starts to gain momentum becomes the topic of interest, and lots of people try to understand what's new or what's it's different and why it's gaining popularity. So before we get into our definitions or what we are seeing and what people are talking about, let's try to know what you think design ops is. So uh, let's go back to the activity area and please follow along the line, and we will all go to what is design ops area. In this area, think from your perspective, in your own words, what design ops is. Don't, if you know the definitions that are there in online, feel free to use them, but we would love to see what you think design ops is. And then we can, since we have around 10, 11 people, we can just go around the room and talk through it to see what you feel design ops is and discuss about it. You guys left me behind. So use a sticky. You can just copy it, bring it near your name so that we know who's writing, and then we can talk through it.
I only just realized Emily's character is with the head on the. It's pretty cool.
There's some nice definition.
Okay.
Okay, so I think everyone is done. So who wants to go first? Elsa? You can unmute. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I don't know which one is name on the.
Okay,
Okay, maybe shy.
no worries. What about you, Daria?
Hi. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Um, in my understanding, design ops is about creating a consistent design system where all components are reusable. They repeat for the same functional elements, and it's also about creating design processes where designers can use the same UI elements that which developers do.
Okay, and that's accurate. And this is what we are going to see as well. Like, uh, it's just not about everything. It can start from different areas, and design system and design process definitely is one of those areas. And having that being consistently defined is what design ops is. Uh, let's go and meet Emily. Hi, Emily.
Oh, hi. I was thinking design ops is reduce the waste in the process. Like other than design, we do a lot of like handout things and uploading to reduce that kind of waste and then improve efficiency, essentially.
Good. Yes, and if you see your definition and what we just heard from Daria are very similar, and I like the thought process here. Where uh, if you have a consistent design system and process, that will help us reduce the waste that we, in terms of time and energy, that we go through because of inconsistency. So, bang on, Emily and Daria. Good. Uh, since we have our neighbor here, Kiet, how about you?
About me, I definitely think that design ops is really a way of sort of building a system where process and everything else, the design process can be consistent so that the designers on the team can always deliver the same great results all the time, every project, on and on. Right?
Okay, so we and Farid is already well ahead, and he's doing good in finding the affinity here. So Emily, Daria, and Kiet were on process side. Let's see what we get other areas. Hi, Elena.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Hi.
Okay, as I can see, all our speakers have something familiar. It's all about optimization and making things more efficient. But I think it's about optimization things that can be optimized and maybe to have more time on something like research or more important things that have to be done by people's energy and time.
Yes, and that's there's a little bit of process, but I like the optimization part. So sometimes just being consistent is not enough. You have to optimize as well. So good. That's also a nice definition. Uh, I will come to me and Farid later. Let's come say hi to Elk. Am I pronouncing your name right? Elk, right?
Elkie.
Elky. Okay.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry.
I'm not really sure what design ops is about, but from what I think it is, it feels like it's about efficiency through workflows or like processes among the team. Something like that.
Yes, so we are definitely seeing a theme here in terms of process. We are talking about process in one or the other terms. We saw about the consistency, we saw about optimization, efficiency, again, on the same theme of process. So good, and we are going to talk about process also today, process and governance. So this is nice. Hi, Andre. Andre, can you hear us?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I hear you. So as for me, DesignOps is something. It's like a superhero with superpowers that he uses to help teams succeed by providing more efficiency through the process that people are struggling with the most. And it's like orchestrator of people and processes. And yeah, that's all for me. Thanks.
Yeah, I liked Farid comments like a president. I would say good president. And Andre, you almost have the same feeling I had. A designer will sometimes somehow solve all my problems. There are so many problems we keep hearing and facing. So there is still a hope that there is this design op is a magic lamp that we will rub and it will solve our problem. So I'm all there with you on this one.
Yeah, indeed.
Hey, Shasha, how are you?
I'm good. Well, as for me, like I'm not that experienced in design operations, so basically the first idea I had in mind. So let's find it out today what it is exactly. But I know that sounds to me like a complicated system that is supposed to simplify design life as a result, because it will help to optimize the design processes.
Yeah, we will we don't promise you to give you a magic button there, but yes, it should simplify designers' life. We all saw other people also talking about simplification, scalability, and efficiency. So definitely yes. Uh, and uh, you mentioned a nice word there, life. I think as long as even if process is simple or complex, if it's not making your life easier, it's not worth it. Sometimes even though we say the process is very simple, all you have to do is this and this and this and done, but those three steps becomes too much of work or too much baggage, and then it starts disrupting your work and personal life balance, and that's when things start to go haywire. So I really loved your optimistic, I would say, definition around simplifying designer's life. And yes, that's awesome. Did we miss anybody?
We have
Yeah.
Vika
Yeah,
at the
Farid.
top.
Sorry?
Vika on the top left level. We missed her.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Vika.
And Alessia.
Yep. Hi. So first of all, I agree with everything that has been said. And as for me, this is like optimization and automatization process to establish work of large team.
Okay. And I see you use the word large team. Do you think things are still better with a smaller team? It's just that things get bad when teams become larger. What's your experience say there?
So I'm working for EPAM and I just work with large teams. I don't know.
Okay. We will talk about that in a little bit time as well. So, Elsa, are you back? Can you hear us? I think you're talking, but maybe we can't hear you. Okay.
Alicia, you can speak in Russian. I will translate if you want.
Yeah, please go ahead. I don't understand, but we have people to help us translate. So feel free to speak up. Sorry, there is an arrow here.
She says she have not got a mic.
Okay. No worries.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
Well,
no problem. But let's go to Farid. He has some good pointers, and he can also help us summarize what we just saw different people talking about. Farid.
Yeah, the first thing that I wanted to speak about is the tools. We see right now the market is very competitive, and we see a lot of different tools like Figma, .xd, Sketch, and others. So DesignOps also is the person and the team that helps us to make sure that we are using the right combination. Is not only about the one tool, specific tool, it's all about combination of tools, because if we are using Adobe Illustrator and Actor, for example, there is no right integration within these two different tools. So that's why we need to make sure that there are integrations, and people, even if they are working in the different tools because of like their own team realities, we can make sure that there is some imports and exports, so people will not spend too much time on supporting all the artifacts. And I think these two stickers, we can merge them. There is a joke, like, is it about Figma or Sketch? For now, Figma, but let's see how Sketch will do next year.
Yeah. I had a very good conversation yesterday with one of the client. Farid knows, Farid is a fan of Figma. I will tell you everybody, and then he has made me also a fan of Figma. But we were having a chat yesterday with a client, and he was like, Figma, why should we go for Figma? And I was giving him all the good reasons. And he pinged me today morning and say he had decided to go with UX Pin. So we were all debating about Sketch and Figma. And I said, I don't know why he just went to UX Pin. I will find out today and tell you guys also. But it was surprising, like 1 hour conversation about Sketch and Figma, and then you choose the third one. So sometimes the answer is not Figma for it, it's UX Pin also.
Yeah, UX Pin is growing fast right now. I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so this is good. I really liked the variety and difference in the opinion in terms of what you think about DesignOps. But at the same time, there is a very common theme, making life easier with a process that is more efficient and can be scaled. So let's see what the world thinks about design ops. Okay, so design ops is focused on operations inside and outside of design team. So it's not just design. Uh, it's inside, outside, everywhere. So as long as the outside people are not in sync with us, it won't happen. Uh, Increase speed, efficiency, and quality of design deliverables. Something very similar to what we saw you guys thought. So you guys were all in line there. And to amplify design's value and impact at scale. So I think you guys almost picked the different aspect of this definition and put it across. So if we combine everybody's viewpoint, we get a good design of definition. And you will see here on the right hand side, there are different aspects like people, practice, and tools. But it also design ops starts making things more sense in terms of where we want to target things, like at operational level, like Farid was talking about tools and onboarding and those workflows, making those consistent. At the same time, talking about more tactical level, how can we help make this process more organized or consistent? How can we grow this process? And then other aspects. I know we're talking more about process, but everything else apart from process, be it people or be it a design system, be it growth, everything is linked to the process. If you have that one smooth process where designers start to collaborate and talk to each other and know what they are doing, all these things pieces start to fall in place. And that's why we have the strategic thing as well, where we want to also look forward. How can we make things much bigger? How can we develop this design culture? And we are going to talk about design culture today towards the end as well. Design systems. Somebody mentioned having design system and process. I think design system is one of the key Lego blocks of this whole design ops, and one of the biggest block. We have seen clients coming to us talking about design systems and not realizing that design system is just starting phase. Just having a component library or just having those color schemes and buttons and everything is not the solution. There are other aspects of processes and people that needs to be taken care of. Okay. Before we go to key challenges, we should move back here. Sorry, the slide got mixed. So let's follow Farid or myself, and we can all go to the next activity.
Ashish, we have one question. What is the best way to start implementing design ops in life, especially in everyday work? Maybe we will answer it right now or later, but there is a question. I saw that there is a one sticker.
So I actually created additional, not really additional, but a section called parking lot. And I'm going to move those questions there. I think we can revisit this parking lot later on.
Yes. I think we can talk about this senior design ops role thing now. This one around implementing design ops, let's leave it towards the end because we are going to talk about process, governance, and culture. And maybe that could be something we can talk when we are wrapping up. If you see things moving slow and time constraint, we will just pick it up in between. This one, I think, Farid, keep me honest, we have heard this quite a few times now. Who the design ops that person is a senior person or who? I will talk about my experience and then I will let Farid also share his experience there. Typically, I would think a design ops role is a big role because he has to take care of people, practice, governance, program manager. So having that experience with him is definitely useful. You can have other people's under him who will be responsible for specific areas, but having a senior person leading the design ops overall is beneficial. He will have the background of designing stuff. He will have a background of key challenges he would have faced when he grew the team. He knows how to take care of people, so having that people skills. So all these different skills are important to manage the overall design operation. So I always recommend having a senior person there. And if there are big team and big organization, having other people helping with them other areas. Farid, what do you think?
Yes, I agree. Like if we are speaking about the role, yes, it should be senior person. Why? Because it's like design ops is based on the experience that people like person already had, and it's hard to get experience for like and be a design ops when you have only 3 or 5 years. So but if we're speaking about design ops mindset, this is about working efficiently. It's not about the role, and think about how we could work more efficiently. How like, and today one of the most like the things that I'm very excited is to analyze the current workflow, analyze the current process of how people are working, present that to the whole team, discuss what kind of things we could improve, and like scale these practices through the whole organization if it's possible. So yes, this is unfortunately more for senior people, but again, if we're speaking about the mindset, nobody your own thoughts about like the ways how we could work more efficiently.
Okay. You spoke a little bit there, but I think we got it around having that experience and helping junior colleagues. So thanks. I think let's quickly go through different challenges that we captured, and then we can talk about what you guys think. I don't think so. We have all of the here. I think, but in general, we have seen as teams are growing, and for it, you are expert in this area, so feel free to jump in. But we have seen as team is growing, there are different challenges. The growth of design team. How can we integrate different processes? And we saw the definition where it's not just design team. You can make a awesome process, awesome integration tools and everything, but if you're not collaborating with your other stakeholders like business analyst, program manager, delivery manager, developer, leads, and even clients, there are different stakeholders. If you're not collaborating with them, or you don't have a simplified process to interact with them, your life won't be easier. And I think we want a simpler life to deal with, to make sure we are more creative. Knowledge sharing. I think everybody would agree here that we almost sometimes end up reinventing wheel because we don't know what other colleagues of yours are working on. Sometimes getting those information or knowledge from the other colleagues saves you so much time that you don't have to restart from scratch zero, and you can spend time either making it more better or making it more sustainable. So having those knowledge sharing, hey, what are you working on, or where is this aspects of artifacts, or where is this things, or sharing domain knowledges, and not about just design, but let's say there is a designer working in retail versus a designer working in finance. Having those shared knowledge will help you bring in some goods from finance industry to retail industry and vice versa. So sharing those knowledge is very important. Design maturity, creating those governance plan around program, around the processes, all those things will make sure you are more organized there. And of course, market recognition. And you as a designer should know what's going on in the market, or your manager should know what's going on in the manager, so that they can keep tab on the skills that is needed, so that we don't get outdated and we're always on the track. So there are quite a few lots of challenges. So let's go back to the activity area. And we have this DesignOps canvas. I'm pretty sure you would have heard about it. We wanted to use this to see what challenges you are facing. So there are different coordinates, quadrants here. Please go through one by one, and we have to, and it could be your current project, it could be your last project, or overall. It could be mixture of both. So don't constrain yourself in terms of I'm in a consulting company, so in my company there is no problem, or we don't come across this. Um, Use your project experience, client experience also to list out the challenges that you faced, or you saw your colleagues facing there. So start here, talk about first what you do. And it could be simple as, oh, I do a UI, or I do a visual, or I do research. So talk about stuff that you actually do on a day-to-day basis. Put lots of stuff here. Do you want me to go through all of them first and then move, or complete one section and then move? How do you guys prefer?
Maybe you can give a quick overview of
Okay.
the different quadrants, then we can get started on
Okay. Then let's talk about who are we. These are your teammates and versus stakeholder. And keep an eye on the stakeholder. We are going to do activity on stakeholder as well. But who are your teammates? And some of the questions might not be relevant, like how do you recruit people if you're not in recruitment or hiring manager. But if you have recruited somebody on your project, also consider that as a recruitment. So the word recruitment sometimes means recruiting to a company, but if you have recruited somebody on a project also. If you are if you have been recruited, talk about what was looked, what they asked you, so you can use that experience as well here. Stakeholders, all your partners, internal team and external team. Even if you're interacting with vendors, sometimes I have seen projects where EPAM is not, or if you're from other companies, you're not the only design team. There are other design firms as well, so there are your stakeholders. So talk about them. How do you get your support in terms of knowledge or resources, or as simple as that, oh, I need a Figma license. So how do you get all those supports? Communication, all different types of communication. I know Teams is going to be the top here because we all communicate with Teams. But in Teams also, how do you chat? Do you have a group chat? Do you have a Teams channel and all those things? So talk about all the different ways, text messages, even what I have seen WhatsApp groups also. So if you have WhatsApp groups, official, so talk about that and what you discuss there. Let's come here. What constrains us? Sometimes we as a designers get blocked. Oh, you can't use this versus that. Sometimes it's technical challenge versus legal challenge versus accessibility challenge. So talk about all those different challenges or things that restrict your work or causes you to make trade-offs. I wish this was not there. I could have done XYZ. So all those I wish things that constrains you, put it here. How are we structured? This is where talk about your team structure a little bit. If you can draw, very good. Otherwise, you can use sticky notes to just say manager, team lead, design team, something like that. So use your creative way to tell us how you are structured. Is it more cross-sectional type of interaction? Is it more hierarchical interaction? So how you are structured? Then talk about your management. This could be both client as well as your own company in a way, because you may or may not know their overall missions or goals. So you can use your project's mission or project's goal here, and how did you track your and measure your success. So be flexible. Start from your experience as on a project level, then program, then client, and then your own company. And then lastly, what else? This is where anything that comes around rubbing the magic lamp. I wish this was there. I wish that was there, and talk in details. I know this is lots of stuff, so go one by one. Take your time. Let's spend 15 to 20 minutes here, and then we will do the readout. We will ask one or two in each area to talk through it, and the way we did earlier, do a quick affinity mapping there. Kate, can you play music for 10, 15
Yeah,
minutes? 15 minutes, if
of
it's a
course.
time.
Yeah.
Sorry, are you frozen?
It looks like
Yeah. As for the rest, feel free to move on to the other quadrants. So we can, there's about 9 minutes catered for this session. So you can definitely move on to the other parts, fill in some additional information if you have.
If somebody has already written a teammate, it doesn't mean you can't. So please go ahead and write so that we can see what are the different either more or similar groups you are working with. So even same with other areas. If somebody has already written something, don't feel that you should not write it. Go, no worries. Write your mind out.
Oh, email. All right, let's see. There's about 6 minutes left. And you can move on to the other sections. Yeah, we can fill in the stickers in every area, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I just basically see that stickers are not around people anymore, so I got worried is how that happens actually. The colors are actually the same. So
They've all abandoned the characters.
fill in what's missing, I guess.
So I'm not sure how many of you were trying to find the link to access the Zoom, because I think Community Z is down, or at least I couldn't access it from my end. So maybe that explains why some people could not get into here.
Do you guys need more time? How much time is remaining here?
We have about 2.5 minutes. Should be there about. Okay, about 30 seconds to go. Oops. Okay.
Perfect. So we will take a break here so that we can grab coffees or based on a time zone, evening tea or you get late night snacks. So let's take a 15 minutes break. If you're still working on it, no worries, go ahead, keep working. We'll come back in 15 minutes, then walk through this, see what people are talking about, because this would help us in the next part, and we'll take it from there. So if in the meantime, if you are back, just ping in the group chat saying you are back so that we know everyone is here and we can start. So it's 10:15 at my time. So we'll back at 10:30 a.m. And Kiet will play a 15 minutes music. So as soon as music ends, we will all be back.
Okay.
Thank you. See you guys soon.
Oh yeah, feel free to stay on the Zoom so you don't have to like switch around. You can just like turn off your camera or mute yourself. Yeah.
Things. In the interest of time, we won't go to ask everyone to explain everything. But if you see something that's really catches an eye or sounds interesting, we will just ask who wrote that and what the thought process was, so that we can the group can also know what happened. So what we do, help client in product adoption, help business grow. Whoever wrote this, this is like awesome. Like we all know, a good design really helps the business grow. So I'm so with you on this. I believe this is more around tools you use to get the work done. Figma, Descript, Notion, Azure, and DevOps. What actually, what exactly?
Azure DevOps is very similar to the Jira, but it's a new Microsoft product.
Yeah, I think one of a client here in Canada is using, so I got an exposure. It's very basic compared to Jira, so it took some time for me also to see, oh, what all you can do there. So yeah, okay. What's your thought process there? Is it easy, makes your life simple, difficult? Andre?
Sorry, what was that?
How's Azure DevOps? Does it help make things simple, or?
Actually, it makes things complicated too much. There is no ability to make life easier. It's quite complicated instrument, but engineers like this one.
Okay. And
So
what
far.
was the reason to select that? Is that the client had it already, or was it some?
Yeah, because they are owning Microsoft, a lot of Microsoft products. That's why they are using this.
Okay. Okay, so we will talk about this part in terms of tools, because tools play a very important role in defining what processes. Having a good tool makes life easier, and if sometimes we have to use a tool because of the we are in consulting companies, so we work with clients. So if client has a tool, so we have to use that particular tool, and that sometimes creates a problem which we may not be used to. Lots of comments around value. So yes, the value we generate through design is very important.
Ashish, your camera is
Oh, sorry.
tilted. Yeah.
Okay. Defining requirements to satisfy the needs of all stakeholders as a BA will attend all the steps of workflow as a listener. So do you attend as a listener in requirement sessions? Does that mean this? Whoever wrote this.
I meant this particular workshop.
Oh, okay. Okay. Uh, let's to quickly jump to teammates. Solution architect, dev, PM, BA, researcher. What is community manager?
So community manager, because I'm working on like a chatbot. So we have a teammate who is like a community manager who manages all like the chat logs or like the stats and all these like what our users are interacting with the bot. So there's a community manager role in our project.
Okay, but is he on the client side or your in team?
So it's more like in the team,
Oh,
together
okay.
with the developers and the designers.
Okay. UX designer. Uh, like you mean different user designer apart from you on the project, right? And the visual designers and QA. I don't see anything missing. Interesting that nobody mentioned delivery manager here. So I believe
Be a
you're
equivalent
not
of PM.
yeah. And PM is a product manager or a project manager?
Probably 2 sticky notes of PM needed.
Whoever wrote this can clarify, is it product or project manager? Okay, project manager. Okay, delivery manager, project manager. Yeah, in that case, then nobody mentioned product manager here. So I believe all the product requirement is comes via BA only and not through product manager. So okay. On the stakeholder side, project sponsor, immediate working team, product. Oh, okay. The product owner is on the client side. Okay. Client stakeholder and steering committee. Can you, whoever wrote this client stakeholder, can you elaborate like who are they? Because to me, project sponsor, product owner are all client stakeholders. So who else? Uh, do you remember who wrote this?
Nope.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, I was going through this. I really found it interesting here. I love the email emoji. Uh, I think MS Team is a necessary evil that we can't do without. Uh, I'm so with whoever wrote this WhatsApp thing. Luckily, I was only part of once that client had, so no more WhatsApp for me. Uh, So yes, personally, yes, I agree. This all are outside, and initially it should be all personal, but now it's getting into work zone. Slack, yes, now more and more clients are using Slack. Design working sessions and review sessions between design team, perfect. Daily stand up, Jira comments for design approval. We have been there. Looks like these two are same. Grooming with Dave, design walkthrough with dev meeting, daily stand up. Yes, this is sure live networking with flip charts when possible. Who wrote this flat and open communication within team? Can you elaborate on this part?
Oh, this is me. How do we communicate internally within our team? I think I always try to have it as flat as possible, regardless of the levels. Just also to keep it very open and transparent within the team.
Okay, and like, does that may help you with like, does that make you have lots of communication separately, one communication? Does it increase your the amount of communication you need?
I think it is more for psychological safety, so that there is more trust among the different team members, and yeah, we can openly share things rather than, yeah, in the hush hush.
Okay. Communicating with team in Skype, daily calls with client team, weekly demos. Okay, I think we can divide this into and merge with the other areas. So, okay, so more looks like, of course, MS Teams would be at the top because that's our most of the areas official tool, but others around Slack and Skype and WhatsApp and Telegram. Let's go here. Support.epam.com, design lead manager, support from top manager. Did anybody, did one person wrote this or multiple? I just was interesting to know what are you looking for in terms of support or resources. That would have been good to know there.
Yeah, I wrote that. So what was your question?
I like what are you looking in terms of support? Tools, process, knowledge. What are you looking in terms of support?
Like license management and other things. Like if we are like even new activities, maybe unmoderated remote usability testing, what kind of practices there are, how to like maybe from the support perspective, also participants recruiting, these kind of things.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good thing. I wanted to know, like, yes, these are the modes of support. At the same time, what type of support you're looking for, because there are different types of resources in terms of knowledge, tools, license, access. Sometimes I know getting access on time is a big pain. So how do you get the support around those parts? Let's go here. What constrains us? Preparing risk mitigation plan, use data informed driven approach instead of opinion based. Okay, who wrote this? Is it like good or bad? Use of data improved, data driven.
I wrote that. No, I want to say that it is good to data informed or data driven approach rather than
okay, because it's under constraints. I thought it having a data driven constraints you. Okay, it should be other way around. Okay.
Agree.
Preparing risk mitigation plan. Oh yes, this is not our job, designers, but yes, sometimes we get stuck into that. Making sure that we have more than one designer. Can you talk about this? I'm sure Fred, you wrote this or somebody else?
Yeah. So I just wanted to share like how do like answer the question of how do we manage risk. Maybe some person would like to go to the vacation, or he will take a sick leave, or something else. We need to make sure that the knowledge of like of the product that we are building is not lost from design discipline. So that's why it's better to have more than one designer in the project.
Yes, or if at least have a good knowledge management process so that if somebody has to leave, suddenly the knowledge transfer is smooth. Yes, very good. Client underlying agenda. That's sneakiness. Oh, we thought this and you gave us this. The client listens to their boss. The main issue is the difference in time zone. As said, I think Shasha, you wrote this? Or somebody else, and Sasha happens to be here. Yes, I think that time zone is a big constraint, and especially I have seen in current new normal, we at home have become more flexible in a sense, but at the same time, our work time has changed. That's in some areas have gave us a good overlap, but then there is no end time. So managing that time difference becomes a very important aspects of the overall process. And at the same time, having that a way where you can define your task versus your communication time, so that you can work more independently and manage your work. So yes, whoever wrote this, if I could give you hearts here, I would definitely give you agile consent creativity into agile ceremonies.
That's mine.
I have I have been I recently gave a session in one of the meetups here. Is agile really agile, or just making us run faster and making us lots of meetings? So yes, Andre, can you give your thought here? What were you thinking? What's the constraint?
Yeah, originally this method was developed for engineers, and from my perspective, it doesn't fit the process how designers are collaborate with each other, because let's like move on, think about who we are from the beginning. We are creative thinkers. We are we do so much, and our process is definitely not the same as a developer is. And from my perspective, it's like a problem. Sometimes we can try to fit in this process, but in most cases, we can't think. We have like a lack of creativity. We now have some opportunities to innovate on things, and every time when I hear about MVP and sprint, kills my innovation. How to say? It kills innovation actually. And if in good case we have like at the beginning a discovery phase, after that the product will start be developed, we do not have the opportunity to conduct research work, and our designs is like very basic, you know, and that's why I said.
You
and
end
we
up
are also
you end up producing design rather than creating design. So
yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Yes. No, thank you so much for this comment. External forces like I would say means governance, or stakeholder that needs buy-in before we can move. Misalignment between product owner and development team. Well, this should be at the top of every of this constraint pyramid. We have seen this happening so many times. Product owners and development team. I won't name it as development team, but more around the technical team, because architects and technical constraints systems all fall in there. Product teams have their own vision versus what technical team can deliver, and that's where this. Having a proper process in terms of where how can you still cover your vision of design that you are doing, but at the same time have those steps to achieve that. Designing something good and implementing in one go is the wrong mentality. And that's, I think, the difference of opinion happens between product team and the technical team. Every time product team says, oh, I want this product, the technical team thinks, oh, we have to get everything done in one go. So that's where the whole product management, design backlog management, and all those things come in, which helps you understand how to achieve that vision. And as the designers, you also have to take care of that part in helping products owner, where when they are asking something from you, just designing something futuristic or very creative should not be the goal. Helping them achieve that vision is also a part of your value that you provide, so that they can go back to development team and say, okay, this is a nice design, or this is a nice experience that we want to implement, but let's take this step by step. So a good constraint, but we also need to play a role to help product owners there. I liked who did this. Who Andre, you? Or who did this?
No, it wasn't me.
Nice. Can you walk us through? I know it's a simple diagram, but can you talk us about the complexity or simpliness of what happens here?
Oh, it was my.
Uh, Emily, yes, please.
I don't know if this is typical. So we had the client, and the client and basically had two vendors. One is handling the back end. It has a back end development team there, and then from us, the design team, the BA team, and the front end team are working together there in the blue box. So sort of in our team, we have one UX designer, one UI designer, and front end BA, back end BA, and product manager, project manager, sorry. Like managing all the project, and the product owner is also from us. I guess the client don't have a person to own the requirement, so we have one product owner that kind of working with closely with this client designer, like a lead UX to handling all the requests from the client. And the client, the like requirement sort of come from all over, from the client's boss and marketing team, and there's also like a big like art director from the client side. So this is like a luxury brand, so they really care about their brand image and art direction and all that.
Okay.
Basically.
So, I believe you fall under this UI UX team. So, how's your when we talk about structure, like, are you interacting more internally or more externally?
Oh, like both. I'm we because the design team work closely with the client designer. Like the design team kind of is in a staff org situation,
Okay.
and work closely with the designer, and of course our own project manager and BAs.
Okay. So we will do an activity around stakeholder mapping, so we can discuss more in details there. But this is good, and we will talk about how to create that map so that you know who is your closest versus who is your farthest stakeholder. Farid, is this you or Andre? You?
Yeah,
No, it's not me.
So, is this your question, or you want to first talk about your thought process here?
Let's check. So, as I understood, it was the question about the structure, and I like this diagram because it separates into different backlogs the activities, and it kind of could be a solution in many cases, but still it's like as one of us was mentioned, is this theory or reality? So it's more about the theory. But if we, for example, had like different simultaneous streams in our existing agile process, it could help like solve many problems related to how we structure it and so on. Because some of people are really passionate about doing research work. Some of them are passionate about the interactions and so on. So that's like could
And
be.
yeah, I think Farid got a good diagram which he did, and he erased it, but he can bring it back around. Yes, the three loop. Farid, do you want to talk about it before I give my thoughts around the process?
Yeah, I think we are all speaking about the same things. So this is another diagram that shows the flow, and it's based on Lean UX that is saying that it's based on main three things like build, measure, learn. The only thing here is in triple loop, we see it's not like waterfall process, it's looped process. So in any step where the experiment goes to the build, there are some questions, it might go back to the prototype, it might go back to the learn and others. But yes, it also starts with the learn phase, where we need to research and analyze all the findings, and only then prototype, and prototype not only from design perspective, but also maybe solution architects could like develop some diagrams of how they see how system will work in the future. And the experiment phase, as you can see here, it goes back to the like learn phase, where we are trying to validate our hypothesis with the users. Everything goes back to the build. And what importantly is that after a build, we always need to measure. It's hard to do this kind of things in B2B products, but in B2C, when we have a lot of traffic and we can measure everything, this measure phase also helps. And importantly is that after the measure phase, it could go, like all the findings could go back to the learn phase, because like we need to learn and like share the knowledge, or it could go to the finalization. It's important to understand from the beginning, if the idea is not working, we need to pivot fast. So that's why there is a specific way of how to finalize the product, to make sure that the knowledge and learnings that we find are available for everyone inside the organization. So it will be a case for the future.
Yes, and that's what I liked about this loop process. But coming back to your question, Andre, this around research, design, and deliver, where you have different timelines. There is a group who is doing their own learning and research, so that they can feed in what areas to do discovery on, do more details discovery, and create proper epics and backlogs, so that delivery team can do them in 2 weeks. And coming back to your earlier comment around designers will play a very critical role here. So most of the creative working or thinking should happen in this phase, where you're designing new experience, new product, or redesigning something that is already broken, or creating new structure. And when you come to delivery thing, where we are into more that 2 spring cycle, it becomes productioning. And that's where I would say most of the work would be, you know what you want to do, you have defined requirements, the creativity portion is less versus more on the production side, and hence you can, or you should be able to deliver in 2 weeks. The timeline here maybe 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 months, so it depends upon how you are structured. At the same time, we have seen clients being wary about this process, because there is a waterfall in this, a bit disguised. If you see, you do this step, then you do this step, and then you do this step, so it becomes more waterfall in the process. So that's where I think having that showing the same thing in this loop fashion will help clients fear less. In that sense, they will see, okay, this is more like a continuation process. It's just that what amount of team is where. If you're doing experimenting, there is more design thinking and discovery work involved, research is involved. But if you're doing in build process, this is all you're doing is creating wireframes and designs and working through it. So it's all about, I think this both are same. It's just that how you are trying to talk to the clients or talk to the design organization as such, and explaining the process. But the bottom line remains same. You have to understand or do research to see what you want to develop first. Without that, if you don't know what your user wants or what you're doing, anything that you do will fail. And then before diving right into development, you have to see what you want to do first, and that's where the discovery comes in. And then you deliver, and then you keep measuring and improving upon it. So basic remains same. It's just that how you want to convince. So yes, this is a theory, but at the same time, it's where design operation having a smooth process comes into play to make it a reality. Any questions?
Thank you
here?
so much for your comments. Yeah, appreciate this.
Thank you. Management aspects of it. Any questions here? I think we quickly skim through this once. Management. Yeah, I read through these comments. I really liked it in terms of people trying to see how can they collaborate and create communities. And this is where the whole design culture comes into play that we are going to talk about. Having that culture where knowledge sharing becomes effortless. And my belief is there. And I would let Farid share his, because he has been doing good work in knowledge management and trying to see how we can make it more better. But as long as you have to search for something and spend too much time looking for knowledge, that's not the good knowledge management. Your community should be such where finding knowledge is easy. The group is trying to help each other out. And when you're looking for a knowledge, it's right there with minimum effort. So that's what the whole sharing and knowledge management is all about. Farid, your thoughts on knowledge management, creating community, and measuring success?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the importance of knowledge sharing is we have prepared, and also we were sharing that in our Hack from Home challenge in Japan. So we have some practices. If you are interested, please write to us, to Ashish, to me, to Kayat, and I will able to share all the resources, all the presentations that we have around that. But I think we all know that knowledge is really important. We agree that people are important as well, but if we don't have the right knowledge process, the knowledge management in the company, all the things that we are doing, it's like we're just spending more money on more resources on that. So that's why it's important.
Thanks, Farid. And let's go to the last section in this. I'm surprised this area is a little bit on the empty side. I was expecting lots of magic lamp type of comments here, but design code components in Framer. Good. Farid, if you love Framer, can you talk about it? I have no experience there.
I think it will be better if the person who added the sticker will share his thoughts, but I'm just, yeah, I love Framer and that's it.
Whose comment was this? I know we are losing people.
Yeah, that was me. I also love Framer because it creates so many opportunities, and I understand such opportunities. And well, actually, it's a mind-blowing instrument for all of us. And because a lot of designers didn't know how to code, it's like frustrating them. But in most cases, we like can create designed into this tool. It's first of all, it's like a prototyping tool. But overall, if I'm just imagining if it was the case that we can like designers work through the components that simultaneously working with works with libraries and front end React frameworks and so on, and we can like collect everything into single instrument, and we like I don't know how to imagine this like a huge opportunity to like to iterate on your ideas and test it in the like it's very efficient instrument. Let's say it this way, because a lot of thoughts are coming to me. But again, it requires coding skills. Sometimes a lot of designers come to this sphere with different disciplines like front-end codings, engineering, and so on. And if it is like well, that's all.
Okay. Yeah. And you want to add anything, Farid, or on Framer or code?
Yeah, Framer. Yeah, I also like Dmitry Vanitsky is also a fan of Framer, and we have Framer in Belarus community here. Yeah, it's really powerful tool. I agree. Unfortunately, they have only one couple specific platforms. It's React components, but it's really interesting idea of how designers and developers could work with in one place. And if we will have the same techniques as we have in Figma, like collaboration, online collaboration, and they have that in Framer Web, this is really powerful. I agree. Yeah.
Good. Nice. Even I got to learn something. So I will try out Framer. I've heard about it. I follow them on different medias, but I have never used it. So I will give it a try. And Andre, I will come back to you on this one. Okay. See, sometimes there's always a evil in good. So I see a comment here where because Figma is so dynamic, when we hand out design using Figma, the designers kept changing. So dev can't manage the changes. So yeah, when things become too fluid, where you can just go in Figma, collaborate quickly and change, developer lose track. But yeah, and Farid just wrote a good comment there, version control. That's where the governance comes into. We are going to talk about governance quickly, and we have referred it a lot over the last few hours here. Anything that when we talk about scalability, simplicity, or having consistent process or things, having those governance around all those aspects is key. Because when you start adding, oh, we will have open collaboration. Wow, that sounds so awesome. But then there are people who don't want to be disturbed at odd hours. There are people who don't want to just being pinged on Teams chat. They want their time to work. Same as with Figma. Wow, you can just go there and start collaborating and changing designs because it's easy. But at the same time, you have to understand how the other parties get affected about it. So you have to create version controls, process around it in terms of, okay, when the approval will happen, when will we hand off to developers, when should developer come and what should see. So that's when all these things. So there was a comment early on having that design systems and things would is DesignOps, and you can see that it's a starting point. Creating the design system is a starting point where you get things structured, but making sure there are so many other people who are going to work with you, having those start points, governance around it will help you keep sanity and your life simpler. I think we covered everything here. Any questions before we move on to the next area? Okay, cool. A quick time check. It's already 11:07 my time. So we have somewhere around 20-25 minutes to go. I know there are other sessions that will be starting after this session ends, so we don't want to go way too far. So what we will do is cover the next few areas. We did cover a lot in this design canvas activity, so we'll try to skim through some areas. So I think now we know when Farid, I, and one of our colleagues, Jay, and I think you might have seen this on some other talk as well if you attended morning's talks. We went and started creating the same inventory list, if I say so. Like, what are different areas that needs attention? Like, what are the different areas that needs work to make sure everything becomes a well-oiled machinery? So we created these 5 dimensions: process, tool, people, organization, and leadership. And if you see, then they have their sub facets or practices. And we heard about processes, workflows, and we have, and I just want to highlight here, I mean, there was somebody who was asking me, what's the difference between a process and workflow? So the first thing is the main difference is process is more on strategic level, and goes across different teams, whereas task is getting an activity completed. So process might be something around design overall process, how you do the onboarding process, but then task would be let's say how you will complete this particular task of version control, or how will you manage this aspect of it. So that's the main high level difference. People use them interchangeably. But then having matrix, I won't go through all of them, but like we created this different practices around each dimension so that we can know how to define them, how to structure them, so that when we go on different projects or client engagement, we know how to refer them back and use the best practices there. Then having levels is important because you can't be expert day one. So you need to know where you are as a team, as a program, or at a client level. Are you base, beginner, or expert? Base is around where you know there are some processes, but not much, and you're starting to get things organized. But expert is where the whole automation of things come in. We talked about aspect of design ops. So yes, we will get to the automation part, but that's expert level. So we have to get some things done early on. We might not have all the automations done in beginner or intermediate stages, but expert is where all the automation happen. Also, one note here, sometimes intermediate and advanced is a stage where there may be a good design ops or design system or process practice on a project level, but not at an organization or a program level. So there would be one project who is doing using, let me use a Figma example here. Have a Figma design system. They are doing a proper developer handoff. They have different linters and rollers plugins to make sure that designs is perfect and so on. But it may not be scalable across the organization. So at one aspect you are expert, but then overall expert in terms of organization you are base. So that's why we call it intermediate. So keep that in mind. This is one of the maturity models that we created to show what all we can do at different level. Again, I won't go in details here, but if you see here, we started to define what happens in intermediate. The process gets to start defining. You are using on some of the design projects. So like I said, some design projects, not all, but here when you come, it's monitored, automated, and continually improved. So see the process changes, and that's what we are looking for in a maturity model. You don't need to get expert on day one. And there was a question early on how to get started on design ops. So I think having this as a cheat sheet is a good place to start. You see different areas to work on and how to improve them. Of course, this is not an exhaustive list. This is more like a 30,000 foot view. Then you have detailed view inside in terms of each dimensions and practices. But this is a good place to start. And we are happy to share if you need it. Please contact Farid or me or Jay or Kiat. We will happy to share it. We wanted to do an activity here. In the interest of time, I think we can skip this. All we wanted to know is where you think your project or team is in maturity. So we can skip that activity for now. Design ops and design process. This was the area we wanted to highlight today in this workshop. And we have been talking about a lot in terms of governance and process. I think all our concerns or constraints was around process. All our wish list was around process. How can we make it better? And we saw as and when we moved forward, everything around process has a link to governance. It's more like having power, but if you don't know how to control it, and we have seen I think everybody here would have seen Avengers or other superhero movies where they start with all the superpowers, but they don't know how to control them, and they start creating havoc. And then somebody comes in and says, hey, this is how you're supposed to control your power, and then you can start doing good to humankind. DesignOps is something similar. It's as a superpower which can do anything, but if not done properly, it can start creating problem. And design governance is that type of coach saying to the superhero how to maintain that balance. Then there were three areas we wanted to cover around governance: stakeholder map, initiative map, and file management. Farid, do you want to walk through your experience that you did recently on one of the projects around this and how it benefited you?
Yeah, I can share that verbally, and I think I will not be able to share the files itself because they have some easy information, but I will add some templates in our workshop file. And also, if we will not be able to finish it today, please write us, we will share all these things with you as well. But why do we need to to have this stakeholder map and initiatives map? The first thing is when we are doing stakeholder map, it allows every team member to understand who is responsible, who is like reporting to whom. And when we are joining some meetings, for example, and we have more than 30 people there, sometimes it's hard to know who is who. So that's why this stakeholder map gives us an understanding who is responsible for the management, who is responsible for the development, who is like the main solution architect there, who is the product owner, who is the product manager. This stakeholder map helps us to do that. Also, another thing that very useful is to create a RACI matrix. RACI matrix is like responsible, accountable, consultant, informant. This is like 4 different types of like RACI matrix that we can specify on each activity. This type of like activity helps us to understand who is responsible, for example, for the participants recruiting, if we're doing research, who is responsible for facilitating workshop, who needs to be informed if we are making any changes in the chat functionality, for example, and other things. So this kind of stakeholder map and RACI matrix helps us to understand who is responsible, who needs to be consulted, who needs to be informed, and etc. The next thing is the initiatives map. Initiatives map is like, again, this is for large organizations. If we are working in a large organization, like I'm not able to say, but we see that there are different portfolios with different products inside. Each product can have different markets. And each of these products have their own streams. Each stream have different teams. I think you all heard that this system is really complex in large organizations. So that's why initiatives map helps us to quickly map all our initiatives, what kind of projects are currently running, to make sure that, for example, when we are doing resource management, we see that some projects don't have designers, or also it helps us to plan all the resources in advance. So this is about the initiative map. And the last thing that we had there.
Sorry, on initiative map, like Farid mentioned, sometimes almost all clients have lots of initiatives going on. We as a designer on that project may not be aware of what other initiatives. That's where this DesignOps lead or design lead comes in to the play, where he should or she should go and create this initiative map, because it helps how you are affecting other products or other areas that work is happening. So even if you have a small project of 3 months or 4 months activity that you're doing, having that initiative map also helps you know where the other areas you are touching. So if any changes you are doing at your end, and assuming you are moving across your DesignOps maturity model to have a consistent design system, consistent process. So if you're developing a new product and anything changes on your end, you should be able to track it back to where with all initiatives is going to affect, and let them know, or consult them or involve them to make that change happen more cohesively, rather than you changing something and it's breaking other systems. So that's where initiative maps comes into a play, even if you are working on just one initiative in an organization. Farid.
I think he's frozen. Are you frozen?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Ashish. Yes, you should hear me. I can see you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you talk about file management before we move forward?
Yeah, so today we wanted to cover some, like, one of the easiest thing and like one low effort and big value is the file management in large organizations. This is the way how we, based on the stakeholder map and initiatives map, can make sure that all our Figma files and other like research findings are organized in the way that everyone knows how to search. And it's like one of the interesting challenges that you can like take away with you and is try to ask.
Yeah.
Can you hear?
Okay.
Yeah, like I hope you heard me before. If not, I will try to be quick here. So one of the things how you can test your file management is to conduct usability session or like with your product manager and like ask him, please, can you find some of the ideas that we had a couple sprints ago? If you were able to find it in your files, that's great. That means that you have a right file management. If not, that's bad. The same thing for the developers. You can ask them, can you please find the latest prototype for a specific task? If they can find it, that means that you have the right file management. If it's not, it's bad. Again, for designers, is it easy for designers to find the library and use it? Again, there are a lot of different topics around naming conventions for the library, making sure that the statuses and the links are provided in component description and other things. So this is one of the things that we wanted to cover today. But Ashish, I'm not sure that we will have enough time for that.
Yeah, I think we're almost towards the end. So the next part was design process. Again, we talked about it. It was more around synergies among different design teams and provide overall structure to design operations. We wanted to talk specifically three main areas, and we will share our experience and how to learn more about it. So maybe I think we can do a one more workshop out of this to the rest of the sessions we can see. But how do we create new components? I think this is very simple question that triggers lots of different small aspects of your process. We came across this, I personally did when we were working on a client side. They needed a new component and we didn't had a whole process around how to create that. Not just because it was a request from a product team, but we didn't know what's the overall usage is. So having that whole governance and process around what needs to be added and how many different types needs to be added. Can we use the existing one? What's your design principle around it? Having that aspects here is necessary to define the whole process, because adding something is very easy, but then maintaining it's very difficult. And you can add as many as you want, but within a month or two, you will realize you have 200 different components. Now you have to manage all the versions, all the histories, and sometimes one product would be on one version, the other product is on the different version. So now do the maths, 200 components, 10 products, and each of them are on different versions. You all have almost around, if my maths is okay, 20,000 different components to manage just by simple math. So your goal should be to have as many as less components. Having that process around it will save you lots of man hours maintaining it. So that's how I go about talking to anybody who says me, can I add a component? And I says, okay, you do it, but who will maintain it? Second is a design approval process. Having that cycle of process approval, like Andre was mentioning early, in sprint mode, when you are doing the agile, you have to go through that whole review and approval in 2 weeks time. You have to first create a design, so you have to do that whole creative thinking in 2 or 3 days. Then you show it to your product owner or business or BA or development team, get that approval done, get the feedbacks, make the changes, and then do the final design. Sometimes this happens maybe 2 or 3 times in a week. So uh, that leaves you lots of less time to make creative designs. So having that process where things becomes more fluid and flexible, at the same time give you enough time in sprints to work on. So maybe you have a bigger backlog where you do creative thinking process and get the high level approval. Then you come to sprint, do a smaller changes and get those approval, and so on. So like having those approval process defined will help you make your life simpler. Design handoff process. This is all about handing off design to developer. Farid has done an awesome job here, so I will let him talk through it. But a note here, like having that right tools to do the handoff is critical here. Farid, your thoughts on design handoff process?
Yeah, when we are speaking about the handoff process right now, we see that within the last year is evolving into something different because of the design systems. If the team have the real design system where all the design components are connected with the development components, the design handoff is mostly can be automated. For example, all the text styles and other styles like colors, spacings, and other things right now can be easily imported through the Figma API, and you can just search on the GitHub. There is a lot of solutions for that. We have some interesting practices right now when we have a design system and when we are showing our prototypes to our developers. The good thing and one of the best practices that we have is to specify description in components. And how we do that, we always showing the version information about a specific component linked to the Jira ticket, because in Jira ticket, we are storing all the information about all the changes that we had and the relative path to the specific component in development environment. Right now we are using Flutter. We like the best way is to have Storybook, but like Storybook is not available for some platforms like Flutter. So that's why just by showing the relative paths in their repository, that also will help developers to quickly find the needed components. So when they see description in the handoff process from the component description, they can, if they see the code link there, that means that it's already developed and they don't need to develop one more time. And also, not only from design side, but also from development side, when they are opening components on their side, they see at the top, like couple lines of comments where they can find the Figma link to the specific component family. And if like couple seconds only, the way how we organizing all our components is by, first of all, everything based on 3 things: assets, styles, and components. Components are divided into atomic structure: atoms, molecules, organisms, templates, and pages. Each of them are divided into component family, then component group, and then component type. There are some interesting practices of how to manage and track all of these updates. Please write me, Ashish or Kite. We'll be happy to share that as well. But yeah, we see that within the last year, the handoff process is evolving into something interesting. And maybe, I don't know, in the future when we will have a design system, the goal of design system is to make sure that it's like we are decreasing speed of go to market. So that's why we see that it helps, and the handoff process is evolving right now.
Thanks, Farid. I know we have just a couple of minutes. Let's go back to activity area and ask some questions and close the session. But the area around design culture is big, and it's a loaded term, and we want to understand the principle and how can we grow the community and grow the individual design. So creating that culture is important. So we had a good activity around this, but unfortunately, we won't be able to complete it in 1 minute. So we have to skip this. So let's go back to activity area towards the end. And we and please ask any questions, or if you have any feedback, please share it so that we can improve this the next time when we do similar workshop. Yeah, let's come.
More of a Q&A, right? I guess.
Right?
Yeah. Just kind of like 1 minute.
We have, I think others have left to join the other session. So if you all can join me here. And yes, Andre, you raise your hand.
I'm just curious, will you share this today's workshop recording like for attendees?
Yes, I think it would be available both on Design Z community, as well as I believe they would be sending out a link when the session is complete.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Alki and Emily, any questions, feedbacks? I think we can use this post-its here. Let me bring it here. Please ask any questions or any feedbacks. I don't see Elki and Andre here. The long route, I know. We were always up. We had to come down. The long walk across the room. But again, thank you so much, guys, for joining. I hope this was useful. I know we ran past few things towards the end. So feel free to contact any of us here, and we would happy to help you with any questions or any resource you need. So again, anything you have before we close out the session?
Just a round of applause.
Thanks.
Thank Ashish and Farid for sharing all this valuable feedback. I think the whole DesignOps community is kind of being built up, and it was like the first time I heard it in EPAM was during the Global Show and Tell. Is the Global Show and Tell still running, or take a
it's
pause
running,
of it?
but because of the situation here, we paused it a little.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's about it. We shall not hold you guys back for joining the remaining of the last session. So thank you everyone for being here. We hope you learned something new about DesignOps and hope to see you around.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Many thanks.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.